because this is gonna be so good. But she sounds a whole lot meaner. Alright, what's up guys? So exciting stuff today. We are finally digging into these freaking boxes that have been sitting behind me for a while now. And let me tell you, I've been looking forward to doing these for so long. I've been having to wait on my truck ride and the weather sucks. Like right now it's good, but it's supposed to be raining like all day. So we'll see about that. Anyways, let's dig into these boxes. Now for our first box here, as you can see here, we got this one from Rock Auto. So this is the new 6.2 intake manifold that'll fit my truck and bolts right up to it. Now you can't do this modification without the throttle body for the 6.2. So we got the throttle body here. We have all of the O-rings. We have the new throttle body gasket here, and then all of the intake manifold gaskets. So all brand new, because might as well, right? We have the big old 6.2 manifold. Get this guy out of here. All right, so like a little kid on Christmas, I did take an early peek at this. They give it to you in this like whole container here. So that's kind of cool. Pull this guy out. Now we're gonna get the throttle body out of here. So already off the rip, this thing is pretty massive compared to the 5.3. Whole lot bigger diameter here for the intake. All right, so that's modification number one. And personally, I don't think any of this modification would be complete without an actual enclosed cold air intake. S&B, from I've seen all the reviews and pictures, I think looks the best, has the best performance. It's actually enclosed, not like my current hot air intake that I've had for the past like 7 years. We're gonna do this swap all brand new intakeage. So then we bust this guy out here. Comes all nice packaged. So we've got all of our gaskets and hoses, and we've got our little shield here for the top protector. Look how huge that filter is. And then look how big the box is. Like we're gonna be taking in so much air, dude. And one of the other reasons that I like this intake was because of the fact of the black tube here, because mine right now is almost like an aluminized, aluminum looking tube, which is prone to take on more heat. So this should be able to dissipate heat a little better. And for the final piece, I got one of these right here, which is a J&L Oil Catch Can. I've heard these trucks are just prone to take in so much oil in the intake manifold. When I was switching out the intake manifold on my F-150, I poured out on the table a bunch of oil that was inside. So it's just kind of prone with these engines like that. They just recycle this oil through the intake manifold. So we got a quality oil catch can here to make sure that we can go ahead and get a stop to that. One reason I grabbed this one was because not only is J&L pretty high quality brand, but I like the connectors here. They give off a stock configuration. You don't have just like little clamps that you have to like tighten with a screwdriver or anything. So you actually have like OEM quality clamps. And I've actually been collecting all of this over the last few weeks. And the reason I want to do this all together is because they all kind of relate to each other, right? So the catch can will plug into the intake manifold, and then obviously cold air intake here will also plug into the intake manifold. So I figured, how convenient would it be to do all of them in one, in case you have any questions on the road, or maybe this is like an all-in-one stop for you if you have any doubts or any questions about any of these products. I'm excited. I think the engine bay is going to clean up so much better. She's going to run better, she's going to look better, and it's just going to be better performance and all that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now my first order of business, I'm definitely going to be removing the hot air intake or disconnected the battery here, because we're going to be dealing with a lot of electrical connections today. So I don't want anything going on there. So I've seen guys not unplug it, but just to be on the safe side. This intake's coming out, and then we'll start to get to the throttle body and all the stuff that needs to come off there, all the bolts for the intake manifold itself, and then dealing with this bundle of joy cover, which I hear is just awful. Let's go ahead and knock this thing out. All right, you guys, now it is time to disconnect all the electrical connections to our throttle body here. So we have one over here to the left. It's got a little red tab, so we're just gonna push down on that. That should start to back out. Pull her off. There she goes. A little crusty, but that's okay. Then we got this one right here, which you can see pretty well. Pinch here on the back of it. You should be able to wiggle it off. There it goes. Now, so you have one of these little connections right here. You're just gonna pinch both sides of it. Oh, you just push the one gray side. So that's now off right there. And then we have one more little connection down here. This one I heard can be a little bit of a bugger, because we gotta like push in a tab and then push it over towards the driver's side, but it's like upside down. Also, it's probably not smart that I just got home like 30 minutes ago, so my engine is really hot. All right, so what I'm doing, there's a 10mm bolt on the bottom of this thing here. So I'm just gonna take this out. Oh. All right, here's this little thing here. It's like you gotta push down, push it over. It's not coming off. So I'm gonna just leave it, and then when we get the other throttle body back in here, I'll just go ahead and plug it in and bolt it up, because like, dude, this is not coming off. We're gonna just hang it kind of like over here out of the way. Let's continue getting this intake manifold out here. This, like I said, has 3 connections in the back. It's impossible essentially to get it off while it's still here. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the intake manifold. There's a bunch of 10mm bolts here through these little holes that you can see. We'll get all of those. There's 4 on each side, and then there's like these little pieces here that have also 10 mils. They're like these weird mounting points. I guess it's for like another cover or something. That'll allow this piece to disconnect from the intake manifold, and then we can slide the intake manifold out from underneath it and then worry about those connections later. And like I was saying earlier, so here's a 10 mil there, there's a 10 mil there, another 10 mil, and they go back, and then these you need to disconnect or unbolt as well. Forgot to mention too, there's like the little wiring harness here, and there's like these little looms that are kind of holding on to it. So I'm just gonna get a little pry tool here and pop them out. There it goes, there's one. Just go ahead and undo these little looms that hold on to this intake cover here. Then you'll really be able to get it out later. Kind of a little peaceful little shower we got going on. Got a little shower going on here, a little bit of work, not too bad. I'm sorry, I actually made a mistake. So these 2 are in the front like you saw, and then there's another one that's actually way in the back left, right behind that hole you're looking at there. This is sitting back there because I was trying to get to the bolt for the intake manifold, and I was lifting the cover up here, but it wasn't fully lifting up in the back left. Kind of felt back there and felt that bolt, and I was like, dang it. So got it out, and now you can like really get this thing up to be able to get to your intake manifold bolts, because you gotta, like, when you pull it out, you kind of have to come at an angle and then pull them out. But yeah, this is finally fully detached. This is ready to go too, so let's go ahead and get this girl out. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There's another connector right here that you need to take out, so just push on that little gray clamp, and that comes off just like the regular PVC hoses or whatever. So get that guy off, and then your intake manifold should come out. That one's out of the way. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get my shop vac and blow all that out. It is really dirty in there. And as you can see, there's just a bunch of leaves and crap and a bunch of dirt down there. So yeah, I don't feel comfortable taking this manifold off just yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my shop vac and get that out. Got all that vacuumed up, so a lot better now. There's one more back here. Wow. One more way in the back left, like all the way behind it. Okay, I got the bolt. Since it's so like tight back in here, I literally just slid my hand all the way back there, grabbed it, and then pulled it right out. So now this intake manifold here should come right out. There it goes. Come on. Walking it out with my fingers here. Okay. There it goes. Okay, now we're gonna try to get this out. I actually did straight up push one off back here on the back left. I tell you what, when I was doing that F-150, it was the same problem. There's just like these stupid connectors in the back. Oh, it just popped out. Look at that. Yeah, you're never going back on. All right, cool. And look, there we go. So this will actually come out too, but I'm gonna vacuum before I even pull this out. I don't know how disgusting it is underneath that. I've heard it's like sound deadening. I've heard it's like a heat barrier. So I'm just gonna easily pry it out because it's really dirty up here. There we go. And then while we're working with the other intake manifold and such, I went ahead and covered up everything so nothing's falling in there and stuff. All right, so throttle body's here. You got 4 10mm bolts on each side, and then we have a 10mm here to release this sensor, which we will have to swap over. So let's go ahead and get this off. Should be really easy. They only torque down to like 89 inch-pounds, but you will need to reuse them, so hold on to them. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put some silicone grease on this O-ring here to make it slide in easier to the 6.2 intake. Didn't even hesitate at all. All right, let's go ahead and compare here so we can just tell that this is a bit wider. I'll throw the specs up here for you, but I believe this is like 3.66 and then this is like maybe 3.3. Obviously a lot bigger off the rip, so more air to be taken in. And then look at the throttle bodies. Just out of the gate, you can see that the 6.2 is a lot larger, and we can actually fit the 5.3 one inside of the 6.2. Yeah, this is the biggest reason why we're doing all this, is just to get more access to air. And then the filter is going to add to the available air to be ready. Not only is the throttle body a lot bigger, but just look at the intake runners. They're a lot longer than the 5.3. Now, I did have to get a new gasket for the 6.2 throttle body here, so that'll go right there. But you can reuse these gaskets here. But I mean, you know, I don't know if they've ever been replaced. Probably not. They're pretty dirty. So these are like $2 a pop. Just go ahead and get you some when you order this. So this way everything will be all brand new. Picked up a little brand new, little inch-pound torque wrench finally. These are gonna be 89 inch-pounds, and you're gonna do it in a cross pattern. Now we're gonna go ahead and add all of our gaskets to the bottom here. Y'all saw how gross in here looks. What we gonna do, we're gonna clean it up before we put anything back together. Now I got me some brake clean here. Just gonna take this, spray it on a little rag here, and then get to wiping. When you wipe to the side. And then you can see just how dirty these things are. Yeah, we don't want to wipe nothing inside, so I'm just wiping away from everything. And you can see all that oil that's sitting there freaking going right back into the valves here. And I did look, and they're not super gummed up, but they are a little bit. And my headlight just died. If we look down in here, yeah, you can see just all that carbon buildup on my valves there. So that catch can is going to help resist against that. So hopefully it won't be building up anymore. I will be putting this back. It has these like little channels where all the high pressure fuel lines go and everything. So I feel like it kind of would help maybe with dissipating heat, just a little bit of sound deadening. So we're going to go ahead and put this back. And now our 6.2 intake manifold can come right on in. Put this whole gal in. Here we go. And that should sit right down. Yeah, it's in there. All right, real easy back in there. That was awesome. I'm so glad that's like that. Dude, that looks so cool in there. Oh my gosh, it looks so awesome. All right, y'all, so now we're about to start putting all of our bolts back in for the manifold here. Now, one thing to note is that there's a sequence that you have to tighten these all down, right? So I'll put the diagram up on the screen for you, but make sure you tighten the bolts in this manner to get a proper seal on your intake manifold. That is all in place now. So 49 foot-pounds first pass, 89 foot-pounds second pass. So that's all good. All right, that's all back in. Now, before we get like plugging everything in, all the connections and stuff, this is when I want to go ahead and install everything else, because like I said, all these guys kind of work together. So we'll get the catch can in, because that needs to go into like some connections like here, and then we'll have the cold air intake, which also goes into certain places as well. So we'll leave all the connecting for, I think, at the end. So let's go ahead and get everything in here first, start connecting them together, and then we'll start doing all the electrical connections and then turn her on. Now, I think I'll do the catch can first, just because it's a little bit easier. And so they already give you a nice bracket here. We'll go ahead and get this guy installed. And what's cool, they have a lifetime warranty. This is one of the biggest reasons why I got this old catch can, because of the warranty. And yes, it is on the box.
But why do they put a guarantee on the box then?
Because they know all they sold you was a guaranteed piece of...
So we'll grab our hardware, go and start real quick, mount this guy up, and then wait to plug in our connections. Also, something too, not only you get a cool sticker here, you can track whenever you empty your oil can. Pretty much all you need for this installation. A Phillips head screwdriver for these tiny little screws here, 13mm socket, so that bolt off. Put the brace on there, mount your catch can, you're good to go. And then these little screws go right up in here and hold this guy. And just like that, we're gonna hold off there. We've got the mount bolted on. We're not fully tightened yet to make sure we want to adjust it where we have it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put the cold air in here so we can have all these connections ready, and then we'll start matching everybody up. Which I am most excited for, because this is gonna be so good. I've been waiting, honestly, to get this video rolling before I even took this thing out of the box. This is what I am like really excited for, because we're actually gonna give Sierra some actual cold air now instead of that stupid hot air intake, which thing's a piece of crap. It's like it's like the Spectre one or whatever. It was like 120 bucks from Amazon back in like 2018 when I got this truck. So it's been on there for a long time. This is gonna help her breathe a lot better. So let's pull everything out. Oh dude, I am just like ecstatic for this. So when they give you this intake, comes with both the 5.3 coupling for the throttle body and the 6.2. But obviously now that we have the 6.2 intake and throttle body, we're definitely throwing on the bigger coupling. This makes it worth it every single time, is always the sticker. So this is actually clear, but it looks like they give you protection over it, so whenever you put it on, you just peel it off. So that is really cool. Shout out to S&B for being some real ones. Let's do a simple comparison real quick. So here we have our dingy little Spectre filter, and then next to it we have the S&B. Just look at the difference. It is so crazy. Look at that. That is so awesome. All right, cool. All right, got to the part of the box where it says if you want to install this plug right here. So they were saying in warmer climates, you want to put the plug in so it reduces the engine heat from getting up in here to where your filter's at. So now you're only exposing the truck to that cool air, that side front panel, and then you just hit your filter. So since I'm in Florida, we're going to put this guy in because he's going to be exposed to like 95 plus for the next couple months. Now, let's install this freaking air box in here. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. Holy crap. That is awful. So we've paused installing our intake here. So we got everything bolted down. But what I need to do first is I need to come back in here and reconnect this guy. This is that freaking thing that wouldn't come out. So we're gonna install this back down there where it goes. And then we will start doing our connections here, our electrical connectors. Then we'll get into our catch can here. So I'll show you which is the dirty side, which is the clean side. We'll connect these in. So I actually need to remove this connector down here, the one that's kind of just dangling right now. It's the same connector, so you push in the gray side and then it pops right off just like that. And we just pull them on out, and that one we no longer need, which is trash, because these will take over. Before we install the catch can connections here, the manufacturer told that if you put a little bit of oil on these connections, it makes sliding and connecting these pieces a whole lot better. And they were saying like if you don't put some oil on there, then you'll probably have some O-ring failure. So I'm gonna grab some oil from over here, just stab a little bit on there. We should be good to connect our pieces. So if we look here, you see the O and the C for the J&L. So the connection on the O side is your clean. So this guy is actually gonna wrap around here, and we'll leave room for this piece, and then it's going to snap right onto here. Just like that, perfect. And then the C side, this connection piece is your dirty. So we're just gonna slip in between. There it goes. Now we're all set. So we got our pieces here. That's all done. Something I almost forgot. I was sitting here and I was like, I'm forgetting something. And this guy was hanging around. So go ahead and take him and plug him back. It's not clicking, but it should. Maybe I should put some oil on that thing too. Yep, clicked right on there as soon as I put some oil on it. So now the instructions are saying to install the mass airflow sensor. So I've already put the little gasket and plate into the tube there, but I haven't cleaned my mass airflow sensor in a few years, and I made a video on it way back when. So now we're gonna get some mass airflow sensor cleaner, and we're just gonna spray into it. I got a little bit left, so I might use the whole can, and we're just gonna spray into the opening here of the mass airflow for like 10-15 seconds. And then this will take maybe a minute to dry, so we'll let this dry. Oh no. All right, right, y'all, we have everything installed and she is looking pretty freaking awesome. We got our daggone old catch can connected in here. Brand new 6.2 liter intake manifold, throttle body, brand new S&B Cold Air Intake, and just look at this thing, dude. It is massive. So she is looking awesome. So now we're gonna go ahead and connect the battery, go start her up for a little bit, like 3 minutes, let the throttle body kind of relearn a little bit, and then we'll continue on from there. The fan's turned on, which is weird. Yeah, so call me an idiot. I made sure all my connections were in. Her oil pressure was really high, sitting at like 600 RPM. So I'm like, what is going on? I come back in here, check all my connections. I didn't plug the mass airflow sensor back in. No wonder she was running like crap for a second. I was like, what is going on here? We're gonna do it again now that that's plugged in. All right, I don't like the fact that it still has really high oil pressure. It's like at the tick above 40. The fans are on. She's running kind of weird. So I'm gonna disconnect the battery again, let everything reset, and then try it again now that that mass airflow is plugged in. All right, one more time. A lot better. Fans aren't on. Oil pressure isn't sky high. I think she needed another reset after that mishap I did. We should be okay now. As you can see here, RPMs are good. Oil pressure's good. Like I said, it was at that mark right there, right after 40. It was kind of spooking me out a little bit. So we'll let her idle like this for 3 minutes and then shut her off for 60 seconds, turn it back on for another 3 minutes. And then that should kind of like relearn the throttle body here. And fellas, I don't know about you, but she sounds a whole lot meaner. Oh my goodness. That is it right there. I think it looks so freaking awesome, and it just adds so much to the engine bay of the truck. Like, we did the long tube headers, which look fantastic, by the way. Like, they look awesome, but the fact that they're so low, it's kind of hard to see. But now we've got a really good balance here from like top end and then a little bit of bottom, you know what I mean? So all this I think was an awesome upgrade. We have a better looking intake manifold here. It's brand new, it's clean. We've got the nice enclosed cold air intake, finally S&B. That thing is huge, looks so freaking awesome up there. She's definitely breathing better, and I can notice it like in a little bit of like a low end torque area, breathing better. And then obviously we have our catch can here just to extend the life of this truck and all the valves and stuff, because we did look in there yesterday and we did see some carbon buildup. That's unfortunate. However, this should hopefully put a decent stop to most of that. Honestly, this upgrade is pretty much, you know, the poor man's supercharger, you know what I mean? We got a little better airflow, better air box, but no supercharger noises. We'll get there one day, but for now we're gonna go with this setup. I love it. Sierra loves it. Driving this morning on the way to my check ride, like, it was such a blast. She's definitely getting used to it. Her oil pressure can kind of seem to be at like the 40 when she's kind of sitting around the 600 RPM area in the morning, but then as you drive her and everything, like, it kind of comes back down to what it was before, like normally, right? So kind of weird. That might just be like a tuning thing I need to get worked out, but I tell you one thing, she drives like an absolute dream now. She's pretty loud. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she is super loud, but I'm telling you, she's loving this cold air. That's finally getting air from the correct resource here and not just in the hot engine bay anymore. And like, dude, look at this thing. It is huge. It is huge.
Sometimes they say huge.
The huge problem. Huge amount of money.
A huge order.
We're getting there slowly but surely. She's coming around and she sounds freaking amazing. I love it to death. This really is adding to the dream that I have for this truck. And just small stuff like this, you know what I mean? Even if it's just a little, you know, intake upgrade here, it still counts. Yeah, she looks amazing like this. We're really balancing everything out now. We've got some outside looks here. We've got some interior looks with the radio and the cluster. And now we're finally coming into the engine bay a little bit to make her look look a lot better. All right, what's up, y'all? Verse of the day time. And I was sitting here, dude, I was hanging out on the couch because it is freaking balls hot out here. But I looked at the verse of the day, and it just happens to be 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13. Now let me tell you something. There's two verses that I like really cling to in scripture. Obviously not the only ones I cling to, but my main ones. They're actually inside my ring here. So 1 Corinthians 16 through 13 says, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Now the verses in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, 13 through 14 are what reside in my ring here. And they read, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. And then 14 says, let all that you do be done in love. That's not the verse of the day, it's just 13. So this verse is like crucial to me. As I'm coming up through college, you know, I'm like 19, 20, I don't know nothing about nothing, right? So I'm like, how do I be more like a man of God, essentially? And I did like a godly men's course or something with my college group over a summer break. And we talked about these verses, and let me tell you, like, I absolutely adore these verses. And actually in college, I gave a sermon on these two verses because of the fact that it's so strong. And it's such a great command from Paul. Because like, if you think about it, Paul is literally telling us as men to be men. Be strong men. I mean, verbatim ESV, he says, act like men, right? So like, when I read that, I'm like, it's kind of like a smack in the face, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when has it ever been a time I've been like afraid to share the gospel? I've been afraid to be a man of God because I might have wanted to fit in or something. But just think about these words, right? So let's break it down. Be watchful, right? So we live in a sinful world. We know things are going to come our way. So watch out for them. Now, when they do come, stand firm in the faith. Think about that. So as things come our way and we start to get pounded with just the way the world goes and the evil in the world, you got to stand firm. You got to dig your feet in and hold strong to what God has told you. Now, this is the best part because he's really talking to us men here. He literally says, act like men. Now, if you take that from a worldly standpoint, right, when it says, oh, act like a man, what comes to your mind when you think of, oh, what's it like to be a man or to like be a high value guy in our world, right? Probably money, women, and power. That is the exact reciprocal of what God is telling us through Paul here. Act like men, and then be strong, dude. Like, you're a guy. Be strong. You know what I'm saying? Now, the reason I like verse 14 when it says all that you do be done in love is because I think it encompasses everything about what it means to be a guy. So yeah, it's cool. Be watchful. You can stand firm whenever things come your way. Act like a dude and be strong. But what I feel like is missing there is God's love, right? So whenever someone comes towards us and they have bad intentions or maybe they strike us, what's scripture say? Turn the other cheek. So God doesn't want you to like stand firm to people who come up to you, maybe punch you in the face and then act like a dude and hit them. No, that's not the case. Now in 1 John chapter 4 verse 8, it says, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. So check this out. So do all these things, but let everything you do be done in love. So you can be strong, you can act like a man, and you can stand firm, but what's the point? And what does your mind think of whenever it says to be strong? Probably, you know, defend yourself, right? But no, God says to do everything in love, because if you don't know how to love, you don't know him. So you can do these things lovingly. Just how Paul, he might have been pretty fierce coming for the people of Corinth, right? Because he was like, greetings from Paul, and then everything y'all was doing wrong. However, it was in a loving manner. You know what I'm saying? So this verse, I had to come out here and sweat a little more and just tell you about this, because this verse here, along with 14, like, I almost live by, because it is just such a strong command from God through Paul of what it means to be a man of Christ. In my opinion, that's just kind of what I've learned and what I've taken in and what I've applied throughout the years since I've learned this verse. Thought it'd be really cool to share that. I just thought I would add that, kind of speak into this a little more. It was perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect verse of the day. So hope you learned something from that. Hope God spoke through me in the Holy Spirit, because who am I? I'm just a guy, you know. All right, y'all, back to the video. Alright guys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Really hope you did enjoy what we did under the hood here. Let me know if you want to see any other modifications that I do, whether it be like big or small. We're still working, right? We're still working to get her all prettied up. She's got some blemishes here and there. This will get all taken care of and whatnot. Yeah, she's a work in progress, just like, aren't we all? You know what I mean? But hey, hope you did enjoy the video. Hope you learned something from me. Don't forget to freaking plug in your mass airflow sensor. That was pretty dumb. My phone's actually overheating. It just cuts the video. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. But as always, comment what you want to see me do on this girl. Thanks for watching. You can always like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. It's your choice. I ain't gonna push you on it, but you know the drill. Jesus loves you, so do I. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.